So my next question is for Dr. Marshall. You said in September that 40% of the technologies needed to get to net zero are yet to be invented. Are you saying we can't achieve net zero with the current technology we have? So to go to your 40% that hasn't been invented yet, what is it that hasn't been invented? So 40% of what we need to get to net zero, literally in your opinion, as Chief Executive of CSIRO, hasn't been invented, yet the government has pledged to net zero. It sounds to me like we're jumping off a cliff and hoping we invent a parachute on the way down.
We've all heard about climate change, and now everyone's talking about reaching net zero. But how are they related? Let's start with the problem. Climate change is being triggered by an excess of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide and methane, in the Earth's atmosphere. These gases trap the heat from the sun, which warms our planet even more. We're already seeing the effects through more extreme weather and melting polar ice contributing to rising sea levels. And this will only get worse if our planet's temperature continues to go up. One way we can all help is to do our bit to get to net zero. But what exactly is net zero? Think about running a bath. Turn on the taps and water is added. Pull out the plug and water flows out. To keep the water at the same level, you need to ensure what you put in and what you take out is balanced. Reaching net zero works in a similar way. We need to balance the amount of greenhouse gases we put into the atmosphere with the amount we take out. We need to balance the amount of greenhouse gases we put into the atmosphere with the amount we take out. What we do to limit emissions in the next decade is critical to our future. From countries and companies to families and individuals, we can all play a role in our journey to net zero, which will help slow climate change.
In the year 2000, leaders from 189 countries agreed on a vision for the new millennium. They wanted to end extreme poverty in all of its forms. So they made a list of 8 goals, called the Millennium Development Goals, and they wanted to achieve these goals in 15 years. One of the leading organizations working to fulfill these goals has been the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP. We're present in more than 170 countries and territories. We championed the goals so that people everywhere would know what they were and how people could do their part. We funded projects that helped fulfill the goals. We helped countries accelerate NDG progress by breaking down the silos and working across sectors. We acted as scorekeeper, helping countries to track progress. As a result, the number of people that live on less than $1.25 per day has dropped by more than half. The number of primary school-age kids who don't go to school, down by almost half. The number of people getting life-saving treatment for HIV increased by over 15 times. Child mortality, down by almost half. As much progress as we have made together, there's still a lot more to do. Over 800 million people are still living on less than $1.25 a day. 1 in 9 people on our planet goes to sleep hungry each night. Deforestation remains alarmingly high in many countries. Oceans are becoming more acidic, threatening food security and marine ecosystems. And about 1 of every 6 adults in the world is illiterate. 2/3 of them are women. We think those are tough numbers, and so do leaders from the countries where we work. So in September 2015, they agreed on a new set of goals to help finish the work we all started in 2000. The new goals are called the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. We have made significant progress in the last 15 years, and we think there's plenty of room for hope, for action, in the next 15 years. Today, the world is more connected by technology. We know more about how to balance the 3 pillars of sustainable development: social progress, economic growth, and environmental protection. However, our climate is changing. Our planet is transforming. And there are more people on Earth than ever before. We at UNDP believe everyone can have enough of what they need living within our planetary boundaries, and we are working around the world to make this happen. Our goals to reach by 2030 are to eradicate extreme poverty, protect our environment, and much more. UNDP has 50 years of experience working with countries to make this a more prosperous, healthy, inclusive, and sustainable world.
Hi, I'm Rosa Corey with the Post-Sustainability Institute and Democrats Against UN Agenda 21.com. And I'm also the author of Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21. I'd like to talk with you for a minute here about United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development and what we're seeing right now, the total unrest, the disruption, the destruction of our existing nation state. And I want you to know that this is part of the goal of United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development. When you think about what SMART is, it's sustainability, monitoring, assessing, rating, and tracking you. So when you hear that the United Nations has a goal of total connectivity, universal connectivity across the world for all people, whether they're in Africa or Asia or anywhere else in the world, that every single school child, it's a UNICEF program, GIGA, should have access to the internet. And in fact, that they say that they have digitalized the world more in the last 10 weeks with the COVID experience. They've digitized the world more in the last 10 weeks than they have in the last 10 years. So this is a goal, and the goal is to control you, to surveil you, to manage you, to monitor you. And why? Okay, am I just paranoid? Is this just some, panic that I have going here? No, this isn't. In fact, the United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development Goal has been very clear for a long, long time, about 150 years. And that goal is to, rid the planet of undesirables, to limit the population. As Ted Turner says, there's just too many people using up too much stuff, right? That's you. So in order to make this, so that's the goal. The strategy, there has to be a strategy. And the strategy is a revolution, whether it's violent revolution with the Bolsheviks and the Communist Chinese, or it's Fabian socialism, which is slow penetration into the universities, the government, and civil society. And so that is what we've been experiencing, of course. And of course, the variable is occasionally you need a little terror thrown in there. That's part of the tactic of making this plan happen. So part of the tactics, of course, are technology and planning, and the amount of technology, the ability to make this plan happen has not been seen on this planet before. There is, the ability to track you, to trace descent, to eliminate descent, has never been so powerful, and so there's not been this capability before. So in the this really has generated the origination of this, I should say, poorly, is in the 1800s with the House, of course, England was ruled by mainly the House of Lords, and these were powerful people who wanted to continue to control. And of course, during that period of time, England was incredibly powerful, was starting to lose their grip on the colonies. And then here, the population of Europe had literally doubled within about 100 years. And the other thing was that the poor had learned how to read. So they could read, they could communicate with one another, and they could spread information. So they were dangerous, and also, simply they were the mass. They were considered to be inferior to those who wanted to run and control everything. So you see the popularizers of the One World Plan, which were Bertrand Russell, George Bernard Shaw, H.G. Wells. You saw all of these people were popularizing the idea that there should be one world government, because how could you, keep the planet under control unless you had it under a single, basically benevolent dictator? So from there you went to the League of Nations, which Woodrow Wilson proposed and it failed, and then go into 1945 with the United Nations. Fast forward to 1992 with the Plan of Action, the Comprehensive Blueprint for Sustainable Development, which basically uses climate change and as an element of terror, that you're destroying the planet. You need to control this vast mass of human beings and limit it. And this is the design of this plan. This is actually the goal of this plan, is to take control of the planet, take control of you, and control the world, and limit the population of the world. This is the roadmap. This is the comprehensive plan of action. What you need to do is refuse to collaborate, refuse to cooperate, do not be an early adopter of technology, and absolutely spread this information. Educate yourself. This is a really quick little shoot here, but I just want you to take a look at more, find out more. You need to know what the goals are. The goals are to get rid of you. You're just too much trouble.
What we know is that we will end up with many more unemployed, and particularly also people in the gray economy, which are not counted for, who lose their jobs. So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increased by the end of the year. So we have to prepare for a more angry world. And how to prepare? It means to take the necessary action. Take the necessary action. Take the necessary action.
Hello, my name is Mark McGowan. I am the Premier of Western Australia.
Hello, my name is Mark McGowan and I'm Jubilee Premier here in Western Australia, and I'm the interpreter. I gotta talk like Creole, like Jubilee, what he talking about.
This is an important message to keep Aboriginal people safe.
And the message is probably an important one to keep everybody safe one.
You can die from the corona or get really sick.
People can pass away from this corona, or people can get really sick one.
It's time to get the corona needle to keep people and country strong.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping humanisation before it entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market. And from that point of view, we had to do everything at risk.
Again, it's time to get him this needle, from a corona, to keep him back all the people and country proper strong one.
The corona needle will protect kids, old people, men and women.
Did we know about stopping humanisation before it's entered the market? No.
Well, the young corona needle, gotta keep them a safe one for all the kids and for all the men and women.
Many people around the world have already had the needle.
Big more people all around the world than already get them, but they're a needle.
It is free and it's safe.
Did we know about stopping humanisation before it's entered the market? No.
Again, that needle block corona is free one and is safe one.
If you're worried, talk to your clinic or medical centre or go to Roll Up for WA on the internet.
If you're worrying about talk like yours one clinic or go to a hospital place or go to get himself roll up on the internet.
So get your needle now and stay strong.
Did we know about stopping humanisation before it's entered the market? No.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
I'm here because I have personally treated over 350 patients with COVID. Patients that have diabetes, patients that have high blood pressure, patients that have asthma, old people. I think my oldest patient is 92, 87-year-olds. And the result has been the same. I put them on hydroxychloroquine, I put them on zinc, I put them on Zitromax, and they are all well. For the past few months, I've taken care of over 350 patients. We've not lost one. Not a diabetic, not a somebody with high blood pressure, not somebody with asthma, not an old person. We've not lost one patient. And on top of that, I've put myself, my staff, and many doctors that I know on hydroxychloroquine for prevention, because by the very mechanism of action, it works early and as a prophylaxis. We see patients, 10 to 15 COVID patients every day. We give them breathing treatments. We only wear surgical masks. None of us has gotten sick. It works. So right now, I came here to Washington, D.C. to say, America, nobody needs to die. Nobody needs to die.
Did we know about stopping humanisation before it's entered the market? No.
It's time to get the corona needle to keep people and country strong.
Nobody needs to die.
Did we know about stopping humanisation before it's entered the market? No.
It's time to get the corona needle.
My uncle had a few words with Mark McGowan as well.
I asked him a few questions, and it was my turn, so I asked him about the virus. Is there a cure? And I told him that there is no cure. And he agreed on that, and he said, yes, there is no cure. So why are we taking that needle? If there's no cure, and I said, how come there's no cure, but yet you're still giving two more? And I told him about what he's saying all the time on TV, and I said, you're a liar, lying to the people. And he's lying today. And they wanted to question me of taking place of McGowan to give us the answer. And I said, no, I'm not talking to you two. I'm talking to him, McGowan. Let him come to me and talk to me about things, but I'm giving him answer. And I said, let's talk man to man. And he started talking to me. But before he started talking to me, he was thinking what he was going to say. And then after that, he looked at me. And I looked at him. How's this man's face change? His eyes went red. He got angry because he didn't like the way that I've been talking to him. But if he wants to be a man, you talk to a man. Talk to us properly. When he started saying all this, you need to have that vaccine. What do you call it? The needle. You need it. It'll help you. and he kept on talking, but in anger. He didn't come and speak that, well, that's true, there's no cure for that needle. And yet he still wants that needle to be done to Aboriginal people. There is something going wrong.
Vulnerable people.
So, don't take that needle, people. Don't take it. I said we are spiritual people, cultural people. We feel in our heart, not in our head. We got a mirror deep inside of us. What this man talking about, what's coming to this world today, what's coming to the end of this time, how the government is controlling everything. It's not the right people that's controlling. I said to him, we gotta, not only you, but we need another person to talk. We need to find out from two sides of the story. We need to find out. If you're saying what you're saying, we'll ask this man what he's saying. That is true that that virus never been really looked at properly. That's what the government said. It's about giving you that needle for your immune system to help you grow, to help you do this. That's a load of lies. Your immune system been happening a long time ago. When you was born, when we was all born, we had them always fighting that sickness. Never fall yet. But this medicine gonna kill it. You're gonna kill that immune system inside of you. You're gonna kill them. You're gonna end up with sickness from that needle. We're gonna fight against it.
You know what? Start thinking properly. Don't be bullied or blackmailed into having the vaccine. Stand up for yourself, man.
Stand up for yourself. If you don't want them, you don't want them.
People aren't really paying attention to what's going on. Anyone that's putting up and opposing an opinion isn't only being ridiculed, they're being ostracised, belittled and discriminated against. So many people want to come here because of the freedoms that we provide, yet so many want to change it and take down that mantle that we hold so high.
In the West Australian government, there are certain tyrants who'll take your freedom any way they can. By lying and misleading to us and making people sick, now trying to force a needle full of poison into our kids.
But all the people stand to say no way, but coward sends the police to strike. We'll go on animals crushed down within inches of their lives.
Don't need your mind control. No bullied children in the classroom. Labor, leave our kids alone.
Leave them kids alone. After all, we've saved the space on the Nuremberg wall. After all, we've saved the space on the Nuremberg wall.
I must say that we in Croatia know very well how Pfizer works. Pfizer was penalized in 2012 in Croatia for bribing Croatian doctors responsible for registration of medicines, and also doctors in Bioethics Commission who were evaluating clinical trials. And in the end, Pfizer had to pay $60 million. Back a few years back, you were also fined, I believe, in the United States for $2.3 billion for false advertising, and it's a long list, but I won't spend my time on that.
This is quite ridiculous what we're doing here, and pursuant to Article Rule 211 of the Rules of Procedure, I am proposing that this committee declares itself incompetent in getting clarification on the content of the contracts between EU Commission and pharmaceutical companies with regards to the mRNA vaccines in general, and the exchange of text messages between Ursula von der Leyen, President of EU Commission, and Mr. Bourla, CEO of Pfizer in particular.
I was paying very close attention to everything that was said here, and I cannot hide my shock. And, you know, nobody answered concrete questions that all of my colleagues asked. We heard allegations here and statements from the representative of Pfizer stating, and I quote, that they cannot release the contracts because they have certain interests. What about the interests of the people? What about their health? Because it's our authority and our job to make sure that we get to the bottom of this. So the first question that I address to you is the following. Just yes or no. When exactly are you going to fully publish the contracts that you signed between Pfizer and the European Commission? Second question. You were mentioning the risks, and you gave us some billions of euros that your company invested in producing these vaccines. What about the health of the people who are actually put at risk by being injected with these medical products that clearly, in some cases, might have adverse effects? So the second question is Pfizer liable according to these secret contracts that none of us saw? So we want to know exactly. Is Pfizer liable or responsible for any adverse effects produced by your own products? Third question. Has Pfizer had access to the coronavirus before December 2019 when we knew about it? And here's the reason why I'm asking for it. The whole world found out about the COVID or coronavirus in December of 2019. On January the 11th, 2020, the Chinese government published, and I quote, the genetic data of this vaccine, of this virus. But in the data that your company submitted to EMA in order to receive marketing authorization, you provided data showing that you tested your medical product, and I quote, you started the test on January 14th, 2020. So I'm asking you, how is it possible that in 3 days, after the whole world found out the genetic data of this virus, your company already tested the vaccine on mice? Thank you.